let's take a look at Colin here.
All right.
Okay. So a few things I kind of see here, right? I'd like to see a little bit of some more knee flex. It looks like our knees are a little straight.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to see a little bit more knee flex there. Okay. Because I'd like to see this hip over our ankles. Okay, so you're kind of like this a little bit. So I'd like to kind of see you kind of get that back just a little bit.
Okay.
So now your hips are overlying your ankle instead of kind of being like this.
Okay.
Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with that kind of thought right there. Okay. Shoulders are a little bit open, just slightly. Okay, but that's not imperative for what we need to do, right? Our big move is going to be off our takeaway here. All right. So big thing is if I just draw a line right here, we've discussed this a couple of times before.
Yeah.
All right, but if I kind of put a line right here, we'll just kind of put a line right here on Colin. All right. Let's just see how their hand path goes here. All right. So you can see it, if we look here, yours goes into that line and up and away, where we can see Colin is basically dragging his hands more back inside while he keeps the club out and away from him. Does that make sense? Okay, so
That's what I can't, yeah, I'm trying to get away from that early roll thing I'm doing right there. That's the hardest part for me.
So let me give you a little feel here. So go ahead and set up for me, okay? I want to give you a little feel here, okay?
Instead of this thing.
Yeah. So set up for me.
All right.
Okay. So as you start to roll your hands, right? Okay. Right. We want to kind of have the feeling. Yeah. You see, that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and set up for me. I want to feel. Okay. Let me kind of move you here. Okay.
All right.
Feel that?
Yeah.
Right. That feels totally different, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let's try that again. Okay.
All right.
All right. So I just get your hands right here on that little logo thing, and I push it back. Now it's probably a little bit more extreme, but that's more where we need to be.
Okay.
Okay, you see how your hands are here?
Yeah.
And your club head is outside?
Yeah.
Okay, that is more of what we're seeing characteristically of Colin Morikawa here. Wouldn't you agree? All right, watch his hands. All right, so when he gets to right here, the club's outside of his hands. And then he gets on in here. Okay? So the big thing for us on our start, okay, is that we got to get rid of the left hand just taking over and the right hand failing to be a part of it, right? They need to work in tandem, right? But once you get like this and in here, then you've got to kind of get, you see how now you're falling forward? And that's all because of our hand path and how it started. And now you're just way narrow, you got to get back up, get out of there, right? And it's really tough, right, when I've got all this motion and movement to get the club to pass in front of me, and then I have to think about, oh, I need a square club face too.
Right.
Right? At this point, you're just thinking, I got to get the club in front of me, and wherever the face is where it's at. Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay, any questions right there as far as what we're talking about?
That's just what I'm trying to fix. And then I saw the popping up is a problem for me. I've been trying to.
Well, one thing leads to another, right? Like the song says, one thing leads to another, right? So one thing, if I can get you in a little bit better posture, not feel like you're leaning so far over, okay, that would be our start, okay? And then you wouldn't have to roll your hands to get them back into the inside, okay? Because you're kind of like this, right? Kind of like this. Nobody's going to feel comfortable to kind of do this.
Right.
Right? You just feel like you're going out the way, right?
Yeah.
So what you do, right, to get the club back in is roll your hands in. If I can get you kind of in a better posture, okay, get the club maybe, you get a little bit more knee flex, just a little bit, get the club a little bit more underneath us, just a little bit. And now when I take it back, right, more of the club face is going to be facing towards the ball, on my takeaway
Okay.
than rolling away,
Okay.
right? Because once you start to do this, Delray, once you start to open it up, now you've introduced so much face rotation and face
Yeah.
opening that now I have to do something back here, right? So, but if I can kind of keep it square here, it's still square, right? If I put it right there, it's still in the same spot. But once I do here,
Yeah.
right? Does that make sense, big guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and
Okay.
set up for me again, okay? All right, and I just want you to kind of get a feel for this. There you go, good. Okay,
Okay.
all right, good. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, one more time. Okay, good. Now I want, just because you felt it that way, okay, I need you to kind of feel it this way as well. Okay, so go ahead and set on up. Okay, I got you right here. See how that works?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, slide it across. See what we're doing? Okay. Right, so go ahead and do that again for me. I'm gonna kind of catch the club here for you. Right, the face is still looking at the ball at this point, right?
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay. Once we get to about here, now it's about time to start hinging up a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
But the big thing for us for today's session
Mhm.
is to make sure that we get this going.
Okay.
Right? So it's going to be feeling more like hands come in, club stays out. Does that make sense? Instead of hands
Right.
out, club in. Right? Okay. So go again. And once we get to right here, chop.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once again. Uh-huh. 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 Mhm. Now, some ideas, right? So I've kind of given you a feel. Hopefully I've given you a visual here as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a thought that you might have, right? And this is an extreme way of kind of practicing because honestly, the friend that we were just talking about, me and Gary, Sean Van Patten, had that same issue as a kid, right?
Okay.
When we grew up as kids, right? So he would get that thing winding out. What he does now, right? And let me kind of jump on in there real quick.
Yeah.
For him to combat that, right? What he does, and I'm not saying that we're going to do this, but this might be the feeling we have, is that he always feels like, and he does it, right? He moves the hands back and he leaves the club behind. Okay, that's extreme, right?
Yeah.
That's an extreme drill, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But that is going to be kind of what it's going to feel like for you. Does that make sense? So it's going to feel like I kind of do this, right? Watch me as I kind of move.
I've seen that drill before.
Have you? Okay. All right. So I'm not far off, right?
No.
Okay.
A little waggle.
A little waggle, but for us, we want to feel like the hands kind of come in just a little bit around our corner, but the head stays out and away from us. Okay. So it may just feel like we kind of drag the club a little bit, right, to get that feeling, and that's going to be the complete counter opposite of this move.
Right.
Right, and that's what we're trying to break, right?
Yeah.
So I would just kind of feel like I'm dragging the handle back just a little bit, leaving the club where it's at, and then getting a feel for it. These are some nice feeling clubs, pal.
Thanks.
Man, I'm telling you what. Woo! Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions right now, Delray?
Nah.
All right, so just for practice here, just feel like you're dragging that club back. Yeah, it's going to be really weird for us. right? That's what it's gonna feel like, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of like one of those drills when I see those pros on the range and they're doing like this crazy squat thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't swing anything like that,
Yeah.
right? But this is kind of what we try to trick our mind into kind of what we want to think it is, right?
Mm-hmm.